The the thing that I really want to say is that there was a time that there were booking agents. मुझे लगता है 99% अगर I don't know when it changed, and maybe you guys can throw a little bit of light, that when did you think it changed that suddenly the artist manager in India had a voice which was more important. I remember maybe post, like I feel that the Sonu Nigam etc. era is where it sort of started happening to some degree, that Thomas at that time had come up and then he said, I don't need a big star, I'll make a band, and he made that band of boys and other things or whatever started happening when people started thinking strategically. I just want to quickly ask you, when do you think talent management took on this identity of building brands? Alap, I'll start from you and then we can just move along the side. Mayur, आपके पास भी आता हूँ फिर. हाँ.
Mayur is ready. Okay. So India has always seen shift in talent management, right? You said booking agent was a better name to give. It always started with a family member or a brother, sister, father handling artist work. Then going into a secretary model, कि PA जो आखा पूरा दिन साथ में घूमते रहता था आर्टिस्ट के साथ. उसका काम यही था कि आर्टिस्ट को टाइम देना, कहाँ पहुँचना है और उसके लिए पैसे कलेक्ट करना. उससे ज़्यादा वो कभी सोचता नहीं था. देन अ टाइम केम वेयर पीपल अंडरस्टूड दैट ओके आई नीड अ मैनेजर to go out in the market and talk on my behalf. That was the second shift. Then is the time when it came that India started to accepted the corporate structure. People understood that we need to formalize everything. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि कोई किसी का phone 5 दिन नहीं उठा रहा है. It used to be a thing that people used to reach out to manager's house like years back to reach out to an artist to get work done. But then people suddenly thought that, there's competition. Competition and a lot of talent coming into picture got everybody's eyes opened, and it was necessary for all of us in this business to also evolve, to understand that, this is not going to stop here. That shift what is like, I think 2013-14 was the right time when the shift came in. Corporate structures came in. There were specific people for specific work, like booking. Still in India, there are very few companies who have separate people for separate things. Like there are people who do the right things as an A&R. There's a label for an artist. There's a booking agent for an artist. Still we've not got there. We have to get there. But 13-14 is the year where everything started to shift. People like us started to learn more. Artists started to understand more, okay, I need to have specialized people to do specific things in our life. I need to shell out more money to get the right resources. I think it's just the beginning. We've got there, but we still have a long way to go, because we always keep on comparing ourselves to the West. It's very different there, and we have still not got there. Ayushman can throw more light on this.
Go ahead, Ayushman.
So I don't know what the setup was earlier, because I was not part of this
Sure.
scene earlier or anything.
Sure.
I came in as an artist manager, and that's been the role I played throughout. But when I came in, I started with a client of mine called DJ Chetas, who's still working with us 10 years in. My goal with him was not to personally get him more shows. That was not what he had in his mind as well. He wanted to be presented as bigger than what just a DJ was thought of at that given point. So we focused a lot more on branding. We tried to see, how do I make this persona bigger than anything else that is out there. So we tried to get him a show on TV. We tried to get him a radio show. We tried to make sure that anytime Bollywood dance music was referred to, it would instantly link back to Chetas. He would have these gigantic mashups that would do extremely well, cross a few 100 million views at that time. And anything that felt high energy Bollywood, we wanted that to link back to Chetas. I was a marketing student, so for me it was more about establishing that kind of a presence for the person. And that's how we thought about it more strategically, and that's how we went about doing it. In terms of current date, Alap mentioned we're still slightly far away from the setup. At Represent, we feel like we're slightly there already. We follow a very different model as compared to most other agencies, where we have central teams running each artist. So while an artist has a dedicated artist manager, they also have 17 other people working on them who are professionals at what they do. This could be across PR, this could be across creative direction, this could be across branding, live sales, everything. We have an in-house A&R, we have an in-house production team. We built out our own studio now as well. So for us, it's always been about trying to complete the 360 around the artist and trying to offer that to them as well. That said, the Indian artist is not used to paying anyone anything. You will struggle with a even 15-20% commission. Whereas if you were to look at it in the West, an artist's outlook or the investment an artist makes into their own project is almost 60% of their income, which is why we're also seeing a lot of artists lagging back and staying back. They are not ready to reinvest into themselves. They're not ready to hire the best stylists, the best creative directors, the best executives to help build out their careers. And unfortunately, everyone feels like the manager is responsible to know all of this. We cannot wear 15 hats. We are not that great people. We're not superhumans either. So our job is to manage those various different teams. When I feel like that switch will come, where an artist says, I want to invest back into my career, I want to start building that out, that's when we'll see real superstardom coming into play.
That's fantastic. I think you're saying that teams which are that large working with an individual, really, I mean, I couldn't imagine. I used to think maybe it'll be 3-4 people. But when you're saying it's that large a number, but next to you is a person who's one-man army. हाँ मतलब मयूर भाई नहीं भाई ये कह रहा हूँ क्योंकि सब लोग हम लोग दूसरे रूम में थे and the whole discussion was about you. या है ना?
सर ये अभी सोनू निगम से लेके विशाल मिश्रा तक की स्टोरी अकेले बताएगा क्योंकि इसने सब किया है.
इसीलिए मैंने कहा
ये खुद ये सब बताएगा क्योंकि
प्लीज गिव अ बिग राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन. आई मीन यू नो हाँ तो
आपने जो सवाल किया उसमें देयर इज अ ह्यूज difference, you know, in the time. So while we were in 2002, we were managing small artists in Delhi, especially. I started with working with some company.
थोड़ा और नजदीक रखिएगा माइक आप.
I started working with one of the companies in Delhi in 2001. That's the time when I was managing Shibani Kashyap.
Oh my goodness, yeah. तो हमारे साथ ही आपने बड़े शोज किए होंगे इसका मतलब है फिर तो.
शिबानी कश्यप से स्टार्ट होके दैट वाज द टाइम व्हेन नोबडी यूज्ड टू रीच टू अस, यू नो. बहुत मुश्किल था किसी के पास भी हमारे तक आना. तो देयर वाज ओनली लैंडलाइंस टू रीच, सो वी यूज्ड टू मेक कोल्ड कॉल्स एंड इवन पीपल यूज्ड टू फाइंड अस. इतना डिफिकल्ट होता था कि लोग पहुंच ही नहीं पाते थे, लेकिन हम लोगों को किसी तरह से बिजनेस करना होता था. एंड इवेंचुअली ग्रेजुअली इंटरनेट आने से, डिजिटल वर्ल्ड आने से थिंग्स हैव चेंज. इनिशियली तो देयर वर ओनली सिंगल मैनेजर्स ओनली हु वर मैनेजिंग आर्टिस्ट. सो वी हैव ग्रोन लाइक दैट. स्टार्टिंग से लेके एक आर्टिस्ट को मैनेज करना, चाहे वो सोनू जी हों, उससे पहले विशाल शेखर को ऑन स्टेज लाना, शिल्पा राव को लाना, जोनिता गांधी को लाना, इन सबको लाना. लाइक यू वर टॉकिंग अबाउट द थॉमस, आई वाज पार्टनर्स विद हिम.
Oh, I didn't know that. Really? Wow. Oh, fantastic.
So we have done throughout
That
all
time,
these things. जब communication नहीं होता था, तब
Correct.
भी देखा है.
Correct.
But with the digital world coming in, there's so much good happening. Now तो we have team to run everything. But otherwise, single, चाहे आप secretary बोल लो, चाहे आप manager बोल लो, चाहे आप agent बोल लो, सब हम ही थे.
Then it's true. It's very, very true.
It was very difficult to handle people. You know, when you do a US tour with 70 people, 80 people, and managing alone, traveling with all these people, with artists also. So it's very, very difficult job. तो आप वो जब करते हो तब
सभी कर लिया. In a
Now तो
sense.
we have team. Now we have everything. People working. मेरी team है वहाँ पे पूरी team handle करती है. They all there's Karthik, there's Kamal, there's a lot of people there. So all these guys take care of their jobs. Now it's become easy. आप लोगों को digitally किसी को भी पहुंचना होता है, you just message directly to artist or artist manager. It has become way easier now.
No, that's very true. I completely agree with you. Jovan, I'm going to come to you because, you know, when Collective happened, I've seen you guys go through multiple evolutions, right? First, there was this time when you had big time Bollywood. And then one day I've been told, no, you guys are all, now Avinash is taking care of this, Jovan is taking care of this. At one point, I think I was told that you're only taking care of digital, right? That you all said, no, digital influencer or digital artist is different. Then it was music. You have been dividing this up. How is it like when you've got multiple artists to manage and everybody wants to be a brand? How do you manage that? That's the first question I would ask.
So I think, I mean, yeah, it's definitely been a very interesting journey and fairly unique, I would say, you know, at least in India. But to be able to manage multiple artists, you can only do it through teams, you know. There is no way in hell, at least from our perspective, we would have been able to do it if it was just one person per artist, because like Ayushman mentioned, you know, you need specialists on every artist. someone that's looking into brand, someone that's looking into touring, someone that's looking into PR, someone that's looking into, social media, etc., depending on the kind of artist you have. So having teams and building out those specialities across the company is very important. I think that's really what has enabled us to scale till date, and it doesn't apply just for music; it's across the board.
Right.
So yeah. The second thing is to answer your question at the start, right? I personally think, at least in music, artist management, we were all booking until, I believe, we were all booking until 2021, 2020, right? I think the pandemic changed a lot in music. Consumption behavior changed. There were a lot of artists that were coming that were non-film, right? And because of that, there was a lot of awareness of how an artist, because initially an artist was a music artist was dependent on a film. You needed a producer or a music director to be able to decide your career. But suddenly you had artists that could control their own careers. They were deciding the content that they were putting out. They were actually going through the phase of building their own fans themselves. And I think post-pandemic is when true artist management started to come in at scale. It always existed, like Alap mentioned, it got corporatized, back in about 2012, 2013 for sure. But even back then, especially on music, it was primarily you were booking and you were trying to see how you can push up prices, you were trying to see how you can get the best gigs, etc., etc. It was still very gig dominant. Today, for a music artist, it's not gigs, of course. Be it India, be it globally, it is still the number one revenue that comes in. But brands is a big play. You look at PR, you look at composition in film and OTT, composition for brands. That's a big place. So there are more revenue opportunities that have kind of opened up post-pandemic as compared to earlier. So I think the shift has happened in the last 3 years.
Okay, so I think a little bit of differentiation in terms of when the shift has happened, but then maybe some are looking future forward from before. I'm going to now try and get more specific because you've got about some 22, 23 minutes. Specifically on artists, let's pick one artist and say, how have you helped them become a bigger brand? Because I've seen some brilliant examples. I'm going to come to Alap later, don't worry. Because I mean, Anuv's story, we've got so many stories. Vishal ki to kahani aap batayenge to hum log will be delighted to know that as well. I'm going to start with you, Jovan, on Preetham, right? Preetham, I remember when I did my film, he was doing music. I can tell you the funniest story about Preetham Da. Preetham Da had a place where he had 4 apartments. They were all 1 BHK apartments. In every apartment, one director used to be sitting. And he would keep going from one to the other. So if he'd met me for 15 minutes, he would then go for 1 hour later and be with the next person, and then 2.5 hours later, he'd come back to me and, ho gaya, haan, acha, then again he would go. So it was really, because, and it was crazy. I would go down, I'd see Bhushan's car standing. I'm like, oh, ab to kisi ko time nahi milne wala. Now he's come, this is going to happen. Suddenly there'd be a call from Salman. I've had a dream about a song. I mean, this actually happened in front of me. I've had a dream about a song. And now I used to make that song. I'm like, what is this? It's absolutely crazy. From then, a man who used to just want to play on a guitar and was happy from jingles to what he was, concerts. Remember doing IPL together.
Yeah.
Jamate, right? A huge production studio. We do a project for Netflix, which we do at Jamate. We don't use Preetham Da, we use the studio. It's a beautiful, beautiful property. It lifts you up when you go there. So you built him into an ecosystem by itself. Tell me what went behind that, because you're talking about building brands. Yeah.
So on Preetham, I think he signed with us back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, 2013, early 14. And when Preetham came on, he was already big enough. He was already the hit maker. He had several hits.
Yeah.
Practically every movie that was coming that he was doing well. He wasn't doing live though. So
absolutely, there was no live at that time.
There was no live, and because Preetham is not, and back then you already had people like Vishal Shekhar and all his contemporaries doing live. So at the starting point, we realized that when we started to work with him, we really realized the force that he is. And today you cannot enjoy a party in India or a wedding in India for that matter without a Preetham song. There's no chance that's going to happen, right? And for the amount of hits that the man had created, there wasn't enough of noise and impact that he had built as a brand yet. And that was really the vision and the focus that we went with, starting with building his life first. So we said, how do we build this live? It took a lot of time and effort, putting the band together, etc. And Avinash and team, bunch of you here might know him. They were very instrumental in really putting the entire act together, and it took a lot of time even to seed it in market, because the market is not very receptive to absolutely fresh act. Even though the name exists, if you don't know what the act is, if you don't know if it's good or not, people take time to experiment. And I think thankfully we worked with people like you who gave us that opportunity to be able to really showcase him as a performer. And of course, the rest is history. I mean, since then the act has scaled, and he today, I mean, just the volumes that he's able to do is quite crazy. In terms of brand, the second option that we really wanted to do is how do we create long-term revenue for an artist beyond what he's doing on a day-to-day basis. And right now his money comes in from live and comes in from films, right? So we got into thinking we had to build something, we had to create enterprise value for him. And enterprise value is something that we very heavily focus at Collective for a bunch of our clients to see how can we help them scale where tomorrow they want to retire at 50 or 60, there's money still coming in. And that's how Jam happened, and we realized that he had the ear for, obviously he had the ear for sound, he had the ear for music, but how can we help that scale? And also back then we realized a shift in film music. So in about 2017-18, suddenly you had a lot of single composers coming in, which was not happening before. Earlier it was only Pritam or SEL, there was one music director. That shift started to happen in 17-18 where we realized that you can actually start to create more talent, you can incubate more talent. And Jam was created with the purpose of that, incubating new talent. And of course, having a state-of-the-art recording setup and a facility to be able to create music for projects across the board. And that's how Jam 8 came about. So the journey has been with him saying, how do you scale, how do you use the brand and create more extensions of him? And yeah, the journey still continues with him.
How involved is the artist in this process? Because see, right now you just coined that one phrase where you said, and I think these are not phrases that would come from Pritam, saying today you can't be at a Indian wedding without playing a Pritam song. Now, these are the kind of lines that chipko with a client, right? I know this, old type branding, right? Ayushmann has done this brilliantly. When he finished Anup Jain's concert, his post on LinkedIn was I screenshotted it and sent it to people saying, this is how you tell people, ye kiya. Flex bhi mara, lekin bada acha flex mara. Like it was such a cool flex that happened, which was there, right? So I'm asking this, Mayur, you're blessed with an artist who is wonderful, who's very topical, songs are working, everything is working. कौन decide करता है? Who decides that यार साल का projection ऐसे होगा, live में ऐसे करेंगे, ये नहीं करेंगे? Yeah, what is this process?
Sir, basically decision तो सब लोग पूरी team लेती है. Everyone is there always, we all sit together and we decide what we have to do. But then I think keeping the experience in mind of mine, Vishal leaves everything on me because I think he has that kind of trust on me. So basically I decide what we have to do in terms of live market. When it comes to music, obviously he's the one.
Correct. So give me an example. गुजरे हुए साल में, let's say 24, what would have been?
मैं आपको last year का बताता हूँ.
बिल्कुल, वही इसलिए मैं कह रहा हूँ.
हाँ, 2017 I signed Vishal.
जी.
Vishal was literally doing he's a great talent, but he was doing a Marathi film that time when I signed him. When
Sonu was singing. हाँ.
Yeah. So he was doing a Marathi film, but then first thing is that आपको अपने artist से प्यार होना चाहिए अगर आप किसी के साथ काम कर रहे हो. अगर आप प्यार ही नहीं करते उससे तो काम ही नहीं कर सकते आप उसके लिए. अगर soul connected नहीं है तो आप कर ही नहीं पाओगे कुछ भी. तो अगर आपको टैलेंट दिखता है एंड यू थिंक दैट उसके अंदर वर्थ है एंड वी कैन टेक हिम फॉरवर्ड, तो पहले तो उसके ऊपर इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. मे बी टाइम, मे बी मनी और वॉट एवर यू हैव, वॉट एवर यू कैन. वी इन्वेस्टेड ऑल टाइम, मनी, एवरीथिंग ऑन हिम टू मेक हिम वेयर ही इज देयर, राइट. प्लस उसने जो गाने बनाए, रेस्ट इज हिज थिंग, राइट. सो when it comes to the decision of international touring or doing an India tour, he lives on me, everything, and I decide how to go about it because I think probably I've seen it with Sonu Nigam and other people, right? So I will tell you where we started.
Bilkul.
2017 when I signed him, I did his first show in Kurla, that mall, and I self-produced my show. Because when we go to the people and we tell them to pitch artists, we go and tell them that this artist has done this and we pitch them. they don't take it so easily. It's very, very difficult unless you have a very good market or people know you very well. They do a favor to you, right? But initially, everyone is adamant ki, "Arey yaar, kya hoga?" You know. So nobody even bothers. And especially when you are out of some very big artist, people think, "Arey yaar, kya hai? Agla kya leke aa raha?" You know. You never know. So the best part is you do your own homework, you do your own thing, put your own money on artist because you believe in that artist. So I put my money on the artist. I did a whole concert, shot the concert, put it out on the internet world, and people saw it, and then things came in. So that's how we built the.
What a
artist,
brilliant
you know?
idea, yeah.
लेकिन अगर आप आर्टिस्ट पे विश्वास ही नहीं करते तो आप करोगे नहीं कभी भी. The only part is everyone thinks of making a lot of money out of artists, but then you need to invest a lot of money on them to get that money back, you know.
No, no, I
maybe
think that's a
whatever.
very good point. And I'm going to jump to you and then going to come to Ayushman on one reason. Because Sunidhi, what I've seen you all do recently, and TM gave me the whole story, which is why I want you to tell us, because you all have a diverse set of people you manage across various ranges. Sunidhi had a child. I remember she came to IMA or Imagine, where actually she came after a long time and then she was going to do her big concert after that. And you all were there. And I saw a transformation. मतलब सुनिधि में बियॉन्से की स्पिरिट आ गई एकदम से, राइट? लुक, चेंज, एंड आई वाज टोल्ड दैट फॉर 6 months you all advised her not to do a show. She was off everything. आपने एकदम फोमो भी क्रिएट करा. There's a danger. And then when the Dubai show was happening, and then there was a show which was happening in the UK, Manchester था या पता नहीं Birmingham, हाँ. And even both of those shows, you guys, I'm repeating what was just said, which is कि भाई आपको invest करना पड़ता है. You all invested, you all backed up. Tell us a little bit of that story because you built a show. I mean, and that show is phenomenal, but you actually built the show.
So, sir, there are few things which are really important that comes from the artist side. There are a lot of things that an management team has to do and keep doing it. Both have to be on the same goal frame that, okay, we want to do this together. Most of the artists don't agree to this, but she agreed that, okay, I don't care. I want to do this, and as a team, you have to keep pushing your artist. Artists are very eccentric people. You are one of them. You need that push. कोई चाहिए कि भाई, you can do this. Till the time you don't tell the artist के boss करेंगे, that वो wake up call नहीं आता. But she was ready to do it, and there was few punts that you have to take in a business while you are doing this or building this. Most of the time it doesn't work, but you have to still keep doing it. With Sunidhi, that break was really important. Her time to make that happen, to give 8 hours every day on her body, on singing, on dance, on everything was really important. And then to crack something for that artist going out in the market and saying, okay, listen, we have a few partners, let's do this together. Sometimes you have to make some decisions which makes the promoter happy and the artist also happy. हमेशा आर्टिस्ट को नहीं बोल सकते अरे ये मना कर रहे होगा नहीं, और प्रमोटर को नहीं बोल सकते अरे सुनो वो आर्टिस्ट ये नहीं करेगा, ये हाँ बोलता है ना बोलता है, बीच में मैनेजर बोलता है भाई मैं कर देता हूँ तुम आगे बढ़ाओ कहानी. So as a management you have to take those calls. We took those calls. Some places you lose money, but you don't lose money. You are investing into a product that you want to finally achieve. And now if you see, it took us 3 years to do what we wanted to do. And right now also she's on a US tour. We are seeing great numbers. We are having approximately 6,500, 7,000 people each city. Our India tour will start. We kept on doing few shows in pockets to keep that spark and the FOMO both together. It's a very playful strategy that you have to pay. I mean, we didn't do, like, everybody wanted Sunidhi. That's the right time that you don't give them Sunidhi. You know, if you give them what they want, then you are over as soon as you build it. So
Yeah,
that
I remember Vicky. I don't know whether Vicky is here. Vicky, सामने बैठा सामने. But sorry, I blind spot. Vicky told me that he had actually gone and worked with Louis Vuitton for a while, and he said that you have to learn the art of not selling.
That's true.
Right?
That's true,
And
yeah.
it is so, and the story was so beautiful कि यार पीछे बैग रखा है लेकिन 6 महीने तो waiting है. Whatever, you know, it was such a lovely story, and how they do that, creating FOMO, which we were talking about yesterday, and what you just said कि जब चाहिए तो ना देना अपने आप में एक चीज है, लेकिन promoters तो यहाँ will be very very upset कि यार दे ही नहीं रहे यार, अब तो तब से भाग रहे.
Sir, luckily everybody is a friend. They understand this. But
हाँ.
there are few people who don't understand. वो होता है ना कि अरे आज ये पानी चाहिए, आज इसका दाम 1 रुपए है. नहीं, मैं 50 पैसे ही दूंगा. अब 6 महीने बाद आएंगे, उसका 2 रुपए हो गया, तब वो 1 रुपए देने तैयार है. So that's a story and circle, and you have to keep playing it. But when you should also believe in the product. If the product is not nice, you just can't go out in the market and talk. कि अरे अब ये होगा या तो नहीं होगा.
सर यहाँ पे बहुत लोग हैं, यहाँ पे बहुत लोग हैं जो नाराज होते हैं मुझसे कि 15-15 दिन 10-10 दिन में पैसे कैसे बदल देता है.
कल 3 मांग रहा था, आज 4 करोड़ रुपए मांग रहा है. अब भी किसको बोल रहा था 4 करोड़ रुपए हो गए तो बात करो. करेक्ट कि नहीं? देखो
नहीं, यही है कि I think see that is where somewhere I think there has to be a long-term trust, long-term relationships have to be there as well. Aishwan, I'm going to come to you because I've seen Anuv from Facebook where we were all together and he's sitting there and there are these girls just going nuts and dying. I don't know why you let him get married, by the way, because I think I was wondering saying that's not a strategic move personally. But you built a concert and a show around a boy with a guitar. I mean, and I know in the West that has happened, but in India, हमारी आदत यार अलग है. We like these big, acts. We want 20 people. We need the following, etc. But from the video strategy to this, tell us a little about, because if this entire session is about building brands, artists as brands, you guys have done a brilliant job there. So I want to know, I mean, apart from DJ Chetas, you already told us, tell us a little about this Anuv journey.
So it started just a few months before the pandemic. Nitin, who's my partner, who might be sitting here as well, we at Represent, we always look at whether we have bandwidth or not to take on more talent. At that time, we had bandwidth to take on one more artist, and
Thank
we were
God.
all, as a team, debating who that artist should be. So the whole team came with, this is the one I think it should be, this is the one I think it should be, and Nitin came with Anuv. And Anuv happened to be my junior in college.
In
as well.
college, yeah.
So I thought that, okay, this feels like familiar territory. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how it goes. And more than anything else, he was an artist who was writing his own music. And that was something which was very important to me as an entrepreneur, because I knew that if we can find that songwriter culture, we can start cultivating that in India. And we always wanted to get into publishing, etc., which we have right now. But we always were very certain that we want to work with artists that are able to write their own music. So when Anuv came in, that was a beautiful blessing for us. COVID was the biggest blessing for us. Jovan spoke about it a bit as well. But when I had 0 film tracks to compete with, and we had our deep relationships across DSPs, etc., we were able to position Anuv's music right on top. So a slot which would never go to any other label other than T-Series was now with a new songwriter who's putting out his first song because no other label or any other artist has anything else releasing at that time. So we really increased his output in terms of just songs at that given point. That got him a lot of discovery. His music is incredible. He's a storyteller, like you saw that day as well. Everything he writes is about his own personal story. And we wanted to put that out to as many people, and they connected with it because it was not the same Khisapita, I love you, you love me, we fell out here, we did this, we did that, I hate you. It's none of that. It's personal stories, personal things that he comes across, and people really started getting involved with it. We then used Instagram Live as everyone else did in the lockdown, but he did a different twist on it. He didn't want to show his face. He showed a dark room, and it was all dark, and he was singing songs to his fans every night. It started with 200 people, went up to 18,000 people in a matter of a few months. That's when we realized that, okay, it's time to take him on ground, it's time to take him live. Unlike, I think, majority of artists in the country, he's performed only 2 weddings in his life. One is his own, the other is mine. And I don't think he's going to do any other anytime soon, unless you come with a very big bag and meet Nitin out there, and then we can have a conversation. But we decided very consciously to not get into private events, to make it very scheduled, very centered to the fact that he's going to come, he's going to perform, he's going to do his thing. He's only going to sing his own songs. He's not going to cover another song. And if you like the experience, we'd love it. We tested it out with smaller clubs, were able to sell that out. We scaled it up slightly more into mini arenas, were able to sell it out. We then went into stadiums. We did the NSCI Dome and a bunch of other stadiums in Delhi, Hyderabad, etc. Were able to sell those out. Saw that this is a journey that's really scaling well. Anuv till date is very keen on wanting to have a band on board, and this year when we take him on tour, we might end up adding more elements. But for the first 2 years, I was very clear with him, we're not going to do that. The biggest support to any Anuv Jain concert are the 10,000 voices in the crowd that are singing every lyric back to him. And no instrument, not the greatest musician in the world can replace that. And we were able to identify that well, and we kept doing that really well. In terms of branding, sir, we made sure it's very authentic to him. He is a songwriter. He likes telling stories. So while others went very heavy on merchandise, we sent out lyric books with our partners at Insider to every single person who bought a ticket. We sent them ebooks which had lyrics, which had the meaning of those lyrics. They got it before the shows. They learned it well. They came well rehearsed, and they shouted even louder every single time. So we've tried to be very creative in the way we approach the things he does. This year, when he goes on tour, you're going to see a very different experience. You're going to see a much more elevated experience as well. And I think the best part about working with someone like him is he is supremely self-aware. He knows exactly what is happening. He's on top of everything. He keeps updates around everything, and now he has an incredible team that believes in everything else that he wants to do as well. And unlike most artists, he's not thinking of what he's going to do tomorrow, day after, etc. We're currently planning 2027 with him. So we're already logged in till then. We're currently working on 2027 touring, releases, partnerships, etc. So we're working well in advance. We're trying to keep up with global standards because we want him to be an artist of global standards.
No, absolutely fantastic. And, we've got about 9 minutes left. I'm going to quickly see if there are any questions in the audience. If anybody has a question at all, we're talking about artists as brands, how concerts are helping them build brands. You heard a lot about the kind of investment that happens, not just, from the management side as well. I still have a couple of questions, but I just want to see if there's anybody in the audience who has any questions at all. Yeah, there's a question there. If you can get a mic across. Can somebody take a mic, please, to the lady in the audience? She's right there. Any mics? Anybody has a mic and can quickly go across? If not, I'll just... someone has an extra mic there. If not, I'll take one of these. Yeah, you can just walk up also if you want. Anybody else who has a question after that, it'll be easier for us. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Most of them know me. This is a very...
Just give us your name. Nobody else, maybe everybody else may not know. So.
Hi, my name is Aarti Khetrapal.
Yeah.
Alap has seen me from the first day of my career. Mayur sees me often at shows. My question is for a new artist. Obviously, everybody wants a greater audience, and usually HNIs come from private shows, but the larger crowd comes from concerts also. So if an artist is starting up, what should be the first game? How do you get the concerts going? With social media boost or private events, and then like the Badshah formula. He did a lot of private events till his Range Rovers and his Rolls Royce and homes came, and then he completely did a hard stop on it. Similarly with Vishal, but Arijit on the other line started off with concerts to come to a price where only HNIs can get them. So what, as artist managers, for a budding artist or a new artist, what should be the first move? Go hard on social media and open the world with concerts, or open the world with private events?
Alap.
Okay. For any artist or budding artist, I think whatever comes their way, they should first do it and not plan their journey. Okay, I'm going to now only do concerts, or I'm going to do private events. For the first few years, whatever's coming their way, they should do it, and they should keep learning on the journey that what kind of an artist you want to be eventually. Like, everybody cannot be a wedding artist, everybody cannot be a ticketed concert artist, or everybody cannot be a corporate act. These are very different genres and different events, and everybody has a specialization. Like, I always look up to one artist, Rahul Vaidya. He's an example to give to any artist who wants to start a journey saying that, oh, I don't have content. क्या होगा मेरी career का? I don't think he's bothered about content, or he's ever thought that, oh, if I release a song is when I'm going to get shows or whatever. I think he does 20-25 shows in a month during season time, which is great. And it's a great example for any artist to not look at social media. Social media has come now. Social media boost has come now. People used to do shows earlier also. One is become a great act, work on your act, and target the right audience. I mean, what act you are. You can't be a ticketed concert act and start doing a wedding event, because the expectation of the audience downstage there is something very different than a ticketed. So for a budding artist, just do it, and on the way you will come to know what's your journey like.
Yeah, no, I'm going to add two things to that. One is the fact of, Shomil, who normally performs with Shankar Mahadevan. When Shankar Bhai did our show, he was talking to us backstage, and he said that one of the biggest lessons was that they were performing at a wedding, and he said Shankar was fully involved, and Somil was feeling कि अरे यार wedding बजा रहे हैं, and people 20 लोग हैं, सब लोग चले गए हैं, etc. And he said the best thing. He says कुछ दिन ना हम सरस्वती की पूजा करते हैं और कुछ दिन हम लक्ष्मी की पूजा करते हैं. हमें डिसाइड करना है हम किसकी पूजा किस दिन कर रहे हैं. You know, it was such a phenomenal quote. I'll never forget it. I tell it to all my artist friends. Say you got to decide किस दिन आप क्या करने जा रहे हैं. The second is Rahul Vaidya, which he mentioned. Because I know Rahul, he's done corporate events for lifetime. You know, I'll tell you one thing. He did an event for us for Ultratech Cement, and the next day the brand manager was there. We were having breakfast. He says, guys, जरा तुम लोग ना बच के रहना. मतलब ऐसे मजाक में. He says what? He says इस लड़के का ना PR तुम लोगों से 100 गुना अच्छा है. इसने कल मुझसे पूछा कि मेरे बच्चे का नाम क्या है, मेरी बीवी का नाम क्या है, सब उसने नोट कर लिया है. एंड टुडेज मैसेज टू मी इज नॉट सेइंग थैंक यू सर. He said thank you so and so और please भाभी so and so को भी मेरा कहते हैं. He is his own best. He is so good with PR. He is so good with calendaring that he doesn't. He knows that he is his own broadcast channel without being a huge guy on social. But I'm telling you, being that proactive, it's impossible. जो next level. Any other questions? Anybody else has a question? The question at the back there. मैं ही माइक लेके आ जाता हूँ बिकॉज ये माइक यहीं पर है. थोड़ा आप आ जाइए, थोड़ा मैं आ जाता हूँ, दोनों बराबर आ जाएंगे, अच्छा रहेगा. हाँ, anybody else has a question? Let me know after this. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Rishabh. I'm the business head at Team Innovation. I've worked with most of y'all. My question is to each one of you, and I would request if each one of you can like answer this question separately. My question is that I know y'all are managing different artists, but when you're deciding a promoter for a particular tour or a particular show, what is the deciding factor to decide what the promoter needs to be? Because primarily there are like 2 or 3 ticketing platforms where the promoter will finally go and sell tickets on. But what is the deciding factor for you guys that this is my promoter for the...
Great question. Let's start.
Yeah, I'll go first, Rishabh.
Yeah.
For us, I think the most important at this point, because of the backing of multiple ticketing partners and the kind of advances everyone is giving out, I feel like everyone has money to be able to execute those shows and to be able to do those. At current times, we're honestly just trying to decide who's the person who we want to grow with over the next 3, 6, 8 months. Because we're going to interface with them every single day. We're going to work with them through this entire journey. Who do we feel will understand what we want to do? Who do we feel is honest enough to be able to deliver on what has been agreed to? Who do we feel is going to be able to grow the journey a lot more for us? So it's more of a personality check with the people who we're working with to see whether this person is someone who I can put a lot of time and effort into, because I'm going to work with you probably for a year, maybe a little lesser of 6 months, to put that tour together, to put that entire piece together.
So everyone has the money. You're now looking at more of a vibe check and
Thanks
making
to
sure it's
District, Book
working.
My Show, and
Exactly.
a few others, everyone currently has the money.
Has the money. Yeah.
But it's more about the personality of the person who I'm going to get in to working with.
Great.
Same, sir.
Same, huh?
Yeah, almost. We look at the personality. I see कि एक्सपीरियंस क्या है अगले बंदे का. पैसे सबके पास है, बट पैसा मैटर नहीं करता. वो हमारे विजन को कितना कंट्रोल करता है, कितना उस पर फॉलो करेगा, वो फॉलो, दैट मेन मैटर.
पर मुझे इस पे एक चीज कहनी है कि जब दिलजीत का कॉन्सर्ट हो रहा था, एक दिन से ये हुआ कि भाई उसको हेलीकॉप्टर से उतरना है. अब ये बजट में अगर है कि नहीं है शुरू से, अगर ऐड हो गया है तो फिर किसका विजन पूरा करना है, प्रमोटर का कि उसका?
सर विजन अननेसेसरी तो कोई कुछ भी मांग सकता है,
हाँ.
बट देयर इज ऑलवेज वन स्टेप अहेड. एवरी wants to go, right? Even I want my artist to go next level. Now for next tour, I'm planning something very different, right? But I want somebody who follows my vision. Maybe we can cut down things for them to make it feasible for everyone.
But they've got to be able to believe in it.
They has to think like us.
Got it. Alap?
I have a very different take on this.
Sure.
If somebody wants to do something, should have the balls to invest into it.
Correct.
Is the kind of deal that you crack with the promoter or the ticketing company. It can be a landed deal. You fix up things, you take it up. Then after 3 months, you feel like, oh, I want to do like 2x of what this is. Then you should invest that money from the artist side or the management side, whoever take that call, but do it. Answering to his question, it is one is the vibe check, is what Ayushman has said. I look at a very different thing. I look at a long-term thinking that, oh, ये 1 साल करने वाला है, 2 साल करने वाला है, 3 साल करने वाला है, because we follow a very first right of refusal kind of a model for all our promoters, and it's open in the market that whoever has done that city, we always give the first chance to say no to that city and then move ahead.
I know this as well. I've seen it in Dubai or whatever when DC had just started or whatever. You all were working with someone else and you were very clear. Either it'll
till
be
the time
along,
your thoughts are not matching or you've
makes
gone
sense.
off. So it's a long-term thing that if you want to work long-term,
Jovan?
then yes.
For us, I mean, you know, the money, of course, is very important in deciding. But we look at a couple of other things. One is, does the promoter have the capability to produce the act like the way we want them to produce it? Because every artist is very different. You need to understand the artist as well as the management. And can the promoter do that? That's number one. Of course, number two, we will always look at what has the promoter done previously in those markets. Promoters have in most cases, promoters have a very strong hold in certain markets. So it's important to understand if they'll be able to sell out, because the job of a promoter is to ensure end-to-end. It's not just the money.
Yeah,
It's ensuring
I
that you're
remember there was
executing.
I'm jumping in only because we've got very little time, but I get what you're saying. I'll take one last question, although I know we'll go over, but we'll get a short answer and a short question.
Thanks. My name is Rohit. So we know about the success stories. Any stories where you have failed as an artist manager? And second, I want to know about the artist development. I feel that's really, we all need to focus on. So these are the two questions.
Good question. If there's ever been a failure, how have you handled it?
Sir, we couldn't hear.
Yeah, we couldn't.
If there was a failure, we've talked of success. Agar artist fail ho raha hai or has failed, how have you handled that? Second part is, what are you all doing for development of artists, new artists, new artists?
Okay. So failure is the best thing that can happen because it makes you learn a lot of things. And that's the time where you don't want to give up. As an artist, as a management, you really don't want to give up because, okay, you had a goal, you had a aim to do and you failed. That's okay, but we tried. You get up and do that thing in a better way that you can achieve what you want to achieve. Is the only way to do it. And I think we've failed a lot of time with a lot of artists, and there's no shame in saying that we've failed. Some things don't work together, some things work together, and you learn out of it. And that learning is very important to keep doing it for other artists, that you don't do the same things and then it keeps on changing as you do. It's a journey where you learn, where you fail.
Anything on a failure? Anybody else जो जिसने कभी कोई everyone sort of agrees. Artist development, new artist development. What is everybody doing?
King है हमारे पास.
King चल
ये
king.
हमारी तरफ से आज हमारी तरफ से ये लड़ेगा.
आयुष्मान लड़ेगा हाँ.
I think the main part about new artist development is just patience more than anything else. Everyone wants to be the biggest artist tomorrow. Everyone wants to play a sold out show tomorrow. But it takes about 7 years. If you go through data from just the Grammys, about how long did it take an artist to get a Grammy after releasing their first song, the average was 9.5 years. And everyone today wants a hit tomorrow. So the first virtue is patience. I think another thing which all of us as an industry need to start doing and changing is focusing a lot more on the teen culture, the teen pop economy, like we want to call it right now. Unfortunately, in India, a lot of the development and signing of artists happens when they're already 23, 24, 25, 26 years old. Justin Bieber was signed at 13, broke at 16, hit super stardom at 21. That's when you start super early and you're able to get into that journey. A Billie Eilish, same thing. A Dua Lipa, same thing. Globally, everyone is signing a lot earlier. Everyone's spending the first few years just in development, just in getting them ready, just in sampling, just in even artists understanding what they finally want to do. How do they want to grow? But unfortunately, our industry has been so playback related, and those casted actors were 25, 26, 27 years old. So the voices for them had to be that much older. Now we have a very unique chance of being able to change that. We can sign artists at 13, 14, 15 years old, spend the next 5 to 7 years into real development with them. And then when they're 21, you hit jackpot, you're able to see massive growth, you're able to see an entire country mobilize behind them like we had in the case of Justin Bieber. And then you have another 30 years with that artist to develop, grow, groom, build an entire legacy together.
चलो school चलो, सब लोग school चलो, ढूंढो नई we'll find
that's
voices.
what we've done.
I'm sure you would have.
We're starting a boy band in partnership with Savan Kutecha, Universal and Republic Records. And we have auditioned 7,500 kids from every city in the country. We have gone and taken all of these tapes. We have found people, the average age is 16 years old. We are now in the process of finalizing that down. But at present, I am way ahead of everyone else, only on the fact that I have my eyes on 7,500 kids who I know and I'm going to track over the next few years to see how they grow and scale. So start younger. I feel like it's going to be massively successful.
Or you go and find a sitar artist, right? And sign them up. Very well done, guys. Thank you so much. In the audience is a friend of mine, Bhavya, who's sitting there, and I can tell you that Blueprint has just done the video I had shown earlier of, Paresh Pahuja. I don't know how many of you have seen a Paresh Pahuja concert. Any of you seen Paresh's concert? Yeah. I mean, from a building a show perspective, there was a show director, there's a storyline, there's performances, there's an hour of a story. There are 200 women in the audience. If you leave them with him, he would be possibly carried home and you'd never see him ever again. I was told that there were 3 people who were coming from Chandigarh who were tracking him in every city. They had moved in. So, if you really want to see a great story in order to have a conversation, you should have to look at a recent success, because that was absolutely brilliantly done work. Please give them a big round of applause as well. And to all these great showmen who made showmen on stage, a big round of applause. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that.